Alright, morning everybody. Continuing on with settlement, alright, migration, date, objective and all the rest, so you can start to head up your folder sheet. Quite a bit of writing to do today, and we're going to look at a little bit of reading in New Wider World. We're almost finished this topic, or this unit I should say, settlement, okay. Probably 2, maybe 3 more lessons, so probably end of the next Friday, not this week, the week after, we'll probably do a quiz, but I'll give you plenty of information before that, okay? So as always, let's start off with some key words. Alright, these are the descriptions. There's a lot of different words and keywords you're just going to need to know in this about migration, okay? Some of it's a little bit confusing. I've tried to, especially emigrant and immigrant, okay, I tried to make that simple using my example, but we look at these in New Wider World as well, okay? So a refugee, these are people who have been forced out of their own country due to persecution and seek, put a K at the end, and seek refuge in other countries, okay? So think of that word refuge, it's like safety or a new place. So a refugee are people who have been forced out. We'll look at that in a bit more detail in New Wider World, alright? Asylum seekers then, alright, these are people who have left their country and have applied to another country for the right to live there, for citizenship, alright, seeking asylum. So these people just want to move. They may not have necessarily the right, but they're trying to get citizenship in a different country. Illegal immigrants then, pretty much self-explanatory. These are people who move into a new country without permission or the correct documents to live or work there, like a passport or visa. So they're there illegally. Alright, and again, there's a lot of illegal immigrants around the world. The lines between this get blurred. A lot of people say that they're refugees, but then countries say no, you're not, you're illegal, and so on. So a lot of it has to do with why the people left their country in the first place. Were they forced out? Could they not live there? Was there some type of civil war or persecution? If so, what was it? And all of this kind of thing, okay? Then emigrant and immigrant. Right, there's a lot of negative connotations around these words, okay, but I am an immigrant and an emigrant, so it depends. You need to be very clear on what all these words mean before you start judging people or judging groups of people. So an emigrant, this is a word for somebody who moves out of a country or a place. Mr. Purcell, that's me. I am an emigrant of Ireland. I have left Ireland, okay? Then an immigrant, this is the word for somebody who moves into a country or place. Mr. Purcell is an immigrant in the Bahamas, so I am an immigrant. Now obviously I'm not illegal, I have my passport and my work visa, alright, and my driver's license and my health insurance, or my NIB, but an immigrant and an emigrant, that's all it is. Okay, so if you are one, you are automatically the other. So you're an immigrant in where you move into, and you're an emigrant from the place you left. That's all it is as well, okay? So you can be both. In fact, you have to be both if you move somewhere. So if you were to move to Canada, you'd be an emigrant from the Bahamas and an immigrant in Canada, okay? And as long as your documents are correct, there's no problem with that. That's grand. You can work and live and study and do whatever you want. And then emigration. So if you add I-O-N to the end of that, emigration then is, let's get rid of the N. Emigration is the movement of people away from a place, and immigration is the movement of people into a place. That's all it is, okay? The way I try to remember it is emigrant, the E is for exit, you exit a place. And immigrant is like in, so immigrant, you come into a place, alright? Let's keep moving. So there's some push and pull factors and things like this, okay? So we will look at this later on as well, but you have voluntary migration where you choose to move. This is pull factors, things that attract you in. So these pictures should pretty much be self-explanatory, okay? Variety of jobs, okay? Family, increase in wealth or wages, health, access to healthcare, access to education, and climate, all right? So again, the only reason I kind of moved for climate, and again I was hoping to try and expand my teaching knowledge and stuff, so I have a wider variety of skills. So it was these two for me, okay? Usually it's these three things, okay? People move for jobs and better wages, okay? So pull factors are things that draw you into a place. You can kind of control, all right? Now the opposite then is push factors, and we have to be very clear. Forced migration is when you're pushed. These are things outside your control, okay? So you can't say a push factor is like, oh, I don't have a good job, I want to leave, all right? These have to be things, you know, it has to be more serious than that. It has to be something that drives you out of a place against your will in a lot of cases, okay? So even if you want to stay, you have to move. Okay, so civil unrest, lots of protest and violence, war, okay, terrorism, violence, racism, hatred, okay, natural disasters. If there's a dramatic recession, if the whole country plummets into a recession where there's no jobs at all, starvation and famine, okay, issues around race again. So those are push factors. There's things, they're bigger social issues than our pull factors. Our pull factors are things for you, really, okay? They're things that you want in your life that attract you to move to a place. But the push factors have to be something, a serious issue within a country, a widespread issue that forces you to leave, okay? So they're a lot more serious. So what we'll do is, you could use those to make your little table, all right? But I've also, you can make this a little subheading under your keywords, all right? Push and pull factor, you need to know these. Again, if you know one, the other one's just the opposite. And we got this little table here, okay? So you can make a note of this table here. So force, these are things that would push you out of a place, things that pull you in, okay? So again, note that down there, all right? Shouldn't be anything new. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, so let's have, we're going to look at, I'm just going to try and get this little map to work. I'm not sure if it will, but we can look at some migration with this little map. So bear with me because the internet is quite slow. So let's see if this works. Okay, so this is real-time migration. This is a map of the world. All right, again, the link is going to be in the video if you want to type it in and have a little look at certain countries yourself. All right. So again, the yellow dots represent something. I can't remember if it's thousands of 1,000 people per dot. All right. So what we have is you've got America over here, the big blue circle. Blue means there's more people. It's the net migration gain. There's more people moving there than moving out. The red circles means there's more people moving out than moving in. All right. But again, you can see the movement of people all around the world. The heavier the yellow stream, the more people are moving. So you can see here places like the UK, Canada and America get a lot of people moving into them. Let's look at Ireland for a second. Let's see if I can, I don't know if this will work, it might take a couple of seconds. But again, migration is one of the hottest topics right now. There's people every day, there's thousands of people moving. Maybe not right now because of Corona, but usually there's thousands of people moving around the world at any time. Moving countries, moving jobs. A lot of you will probably move and live somewhere else at some point. Again, you can see how much people in Europe, okay? France, Germany and England attract lots of people because they've got good jobs, good healthcare, okay? Good facilities, things like that. So a lot of people will move there. Let's have a little move over here to our part of the world and see if I can get this started. Okay, so I would imagine you can see Mexico going up to the States, all the Caribbean islands pretty much moving, people moving up to the States. So lots of people constantly migrating to the States. Okay, the Bahamas has a little red circle, so that means we lose more people than we gain. Okay, so if I zoom in again and again, I can't go any closer. So net migration, we're down, we lose about 2,000 people each year. Okay, and you can see every now and again a little yellow dot from here goes up to the States and one goes up to Canada. We have some people coming in from Haiti and Dominican Republic and so on. Okay, so again, there's constantly people moving around the world. All right, we'll move on in the next lesson, next video, sorry.